Hi, I'm Aida, an eating disorder specialist, and today I want to share with you 20 practical things that tend to help with most people when it comes to weight loss, eating, and just helping your body to function better. And before we begin, please make sure you've watched the first two videos in this series because they really matter. In the first video, I talked about why weight loss is actually much more complex than just eat less and move more. In the second video, I walked you through the three categories people fall into. There's also a questionnaire that gives you a lot of insight about your health and whether you are in your optimal weight or not. And in this video, I am sharing with you again 20 practical things that help you regardless of your category that you've discovered from video 2. These are not extreme hacks or quick fixes. These are not meant for you to obsess more about food or think more about food. They are just the basics that support your body and reduce chaos. Number 1, make your first meal a real meal. The first meal of your day should be complete, satisfying, and enough. By complete, I mean it should usually include a source of protein, a source of carbohydrate, and a source of fat. This could be eggs with a toast and avocado. This could be even leftovers from the previous night's dinner. This could be a bowl of quinoa with lentils and veggies. So it doesn't have to be a traditional breakfast food. What matters is that it is actually registered in your body like a meal, not just like a little something that leaves you hungry after an hour. 2, if you're not hungry in the morning, don't force it, but don't ignore it forever. Some people really are not hungry in the mornings, right when they wake up, and that can be okay. If that's really your body's signal, natural signal, you can wait 1 or 2 hours and then start your day with your first proper meal. Not just coffee or something sweet. But if you've discovered that by skipping morning, you tend to overeat later during the day, you can slowly help your body get into a new rhythm by starting with smaller meals and then, of course, building up. Number 3, construct your plate. What do I mean is that try to make most meals visually complete. You look at your plate, you want to see some kind of a structure. Protein sources can be eggs, meat, fish, chicken, tofu, lentils, yogurt. Carbohydrates can be bread, oat, rice, potatoes, quinoa, pasta, fruit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should feel like a real meal, not just a random bits and pieces of food. 4, don't be afraid of carbohydrates, please. A lot of people are still trying to be quote unquote good by cutting carbs, especially earlier in the day. And then they wonder why they feel tired, irritable, or food focused, or maybe even out of control later during the day. So most people do better when they include a proper source of carbohydrates in their meals. They help with your energy, satisfaction, your nervous system regulation, and of course, preventing overeating later during the day. So unless there is a clear medical reason, please stop treating carbohydrates as the enemy. Number 5, use portions as a guide, not as a rigid rule. If portions are helpful to you, keep them very simple. A rough guide could be a palm size or a handful size. For example, a palm size of a protein, a handful size of carbs, and the rest vegetables, greens, and of course accessorize it with fat and other fun sources. Bear in mind that some people might need less, some people might need more. And of course, hunger, body size, activity, hormones, stress, they all change how much portion we would need. So don't get very robotic about having the perfect portions. Just look at it as a basic structure. Number 6, sit down to eat. Whenever you can, sit down and eat off a plate. Not standing up in the kitchen, not eating over the sink or eating the leftovers of your kids. I know we do that as parents. Of course, life happens and sometimes eating on the go is better than not eating at all. But as a baseline, your body does much, much better when it can actually register the food that is coming in and that meal is really happening. 7, eat enough earlier in the day. This is one of the biggest things I see. People think that they have an overeating problem, but what is happening oftentimes is that they are undereating during the day, earlier in the morning, afternoon, and then their body catches up at night and yes, they overeat and everything seems chaotic, but because they were underfed. So if your evenings feel chaotic, look at what are you eating earlier at your breakfast, at your lunch, And are you giving your body enough? Because this is not a willpower issue. This is your body asking you for food. Number 8, meals, not snacks. I'm not really a huge fan of the snacking culture that has become so normalized. For most people, 3 proper meals and 1 smaller meal, or maybe 4 proper meals, could be perfect and needed. And it works much better than just grazing all day. Meals satisfy more deeply, they give you more stability and less chaos. Constant snacking often keeps people in this vague state. They don't know when they're fully hungry, they're not fully satisfied, and they're always thinking about food. Number 9, if you snack, respect the snack. And what I mean by that is don't just grab something out of the fridge or from your drawer and eat it on the go. Again, sit down, preferably put that snack on the plate, sit down, be conscious with your food and enjoy it. It can be, again, a smaller meal instead of a traditional snack, but it also can be maybe a hard-boiled egg with fruit. It can be fruits and nuts. It can be veggies with hummus. Whatever you prefer. Number 10, sweets are desserts and they're meant to be enjoyed after the meals. Sweets are not meal replacements or snacks. If you want something sweet, it works much better if you have it after a meal. It could be fruits, chocolate, dessert, whatever that is. When sweets come after a proper meal, people usually feel more satisfied, more regulated, and less likely to get pulled into that all or nothing cycle. It also helps sweet to become part of a normal life instead of something that is loaded with guilt or urgency or a feeling of being out of control. 11, make your meals satisfying. Please don't make your meals so clean and so healthy that they leave you unsatisfied. Satisfaction does really matter. And sometimes it means adding a sauce or a dressing, adding something crunchy, something sweet, something spicy for your meal to feel complete. A meal that is technically healthy but still leaves you searching for something is not really helpful in real life. And even if now it looks like it would be completely satisfying if you had a handful of chips on your plate, do it, because it's much better to include that on your plate rather than crave for it and have a whole bag in the evening. Number 12, calories matter at some point, but they're not the whole story, and obsession over calories really backfires. We've already talked about this in my first video, that technically the energy balance matters, and that part is true, but it's just a small part of the whole story. For most people, especially anyone with food obsession or binging, restriction, or a history of an eating disorder, calorie counting does more harm than good. I would never recommend that. I would really encourage you to stay away from that. It creates tension. It creates a tunnel vision that makes food feel very mathematical. Most people do better with structure and rhythm and satisfaction, portions as a loose guide, but not counting calories. There are a handful of people that I work with that I implement some sort of very loose calorie counting, but only if they have a stable, healthy connection with food. They don't have any risk in terms of developing eating disorder, and it's done with monitoring. So it could potentially be another tool if it's done correctly with a professional that knows you, knows your specific story, and can do it in a intelligent way. Number 14, regulate your nervous system every day. A body that feels stressed or under a lot of pressure, anxiety, it's not going to make decisions about food that are going to serve you. Create a ritual for you for every day, whether that's breathing exercise, whether that's a prayer, a bath, or anything that slows down your nervous system. That can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be anything dramatic, but it has to be regular. And breathing is something I would really encourage you to start with. Number 14, warmth and connection matter more than you might think. Sometimes people focus so much on food and exercise that they forget that our body also needs comfort, closeness, softness, and support. So if your life has been feeling lonely, pressured, or emotionally dry, look at areas where you can get warmth from. It can be through people, through conversations, through animals, through rest, through community, through talking to a friend, or simple moments that make your body feel less alone, warmth, and of course, loved. 16, keep exercise realistic. If you're starting from zero, you really don't need a perfect plan. You don't need an hour. 10 or 15 minutes a day could be enough to begin with. Imagine doing that 10 or 15 minutes for every day for 2 months. I'm sure your body, your mental state, and your opinion about yourself will be very different after 2 months, rather than trying to have the perfect plan or trying to exercise for an hour every other day and then not following through. Next, move more in ordinary ways. Movement does not have to mean a formal workout. It can also mean just walking more, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, stretching between tasks, carrying groceries, standing up more often and dancing in the kitchen, maybe just doing squats mid-work, whatever that means, because it will improve your mood, energy, metabolism. It will help your body to feel more alive. And I know that people underestimate how much daily ordinary movements can really do for your health. Drink enough water. This one sounds very basic, and I know it is, but it matters a lot. A lot of people are underhydrated, and that affects the energy, your appetite, your digestion, your cravings, and even your mood. So drink water through the day and make it easy for you. Have a bottle or keep it near. Also know that sometimes our brain mixes the signals of thirst to hunger. So if you feel that you've just eaten but you're hungry, you can start with a cup of water first and then see how your body feels. Next is protect your sleep and make it a priority. I know you've heard this a lot, but this is essential. Poor sleep changes everything. It makes your hunger louder, it makes your cravings stronger, your emotional regulation worse, your nervous system worse. So please don't underestimate how much sleep can affect your weight and the way you eat. It is a foundation that we should build our health on. So please get enough sleep, about 7 to 8 hours a day. And the last one, choose structure over obsession. At the end of each day, most people do not need more control. When you try to control food, food controls you. We need more rhythm, more regularity, enough food, better sleep, realistic movement, less chaos, and we can look at this as guidelines. And if we don't have a day that was serving us, maybe we were out and we ate things that weren't really going to nourish us, that is okay. We can definitely just go back to our normal rhythm the next day without punishments or without feeling guilty. It's life, it happens, and nothing is supposed to be perfect. I really hope that these practical tips were helpful to you. You can write them down, maybe choose whichever works best for you out of all these tips. And please remember that progress doesn't come from being harsher on yourself. It comes from giving your body what it has been missing, and then just repeating those basics long enough so the body has time to respond. Again, as a reminder, please go back to watch the first 2 videos of the series, and I really hope that these videos will help you to stop looking at your weight through the lens of shame and control, but from a place of understanding, grace, and of course, self-love. If anything, contact me with your questions, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.